In this section of the video, we're going to show you how to install the hood on a Model X. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and grab actually a couple slip bottles, because this is a pretty big hood. And we're going to go ahead and just spray everywhere. Okay. One thing about this hood is that it actually goes over the edges. So after we do this, you also want to make sure that you get some alcohol or your tack solution, and then basically get all the edges around so that you're good to go. And before I get started, I always like spraying down my squeegee. Make sure it's nice and clean. And you're just going to go straight down. You're just going to do an overlap. You know, what we're doing is we're just getting the last bits of contamination that might be sitting on your hood right before install. Okay, and this just mitigates your risk of dust. Awesome. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab my microfiber, and we're going to go ahead just get all the edges right here. I actually got it already. But I just wanted to show you for the video. And you want to really get underneath that because it's going to be real dirty. So make sure you get all of that. But since I already did it, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. And next, we're going to go ahead and spray a lot of slip solution again, everywhere. This is a fairly wide hood compared to some of the other Teslas. So I like putting a little bit more slip solution, and if you feel like you need a little bit more time, you could add a little bit more soap compared to your normal solution you've been using. The main thing here, guys, is if you think you have enough slip, you don't. You want a lot, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab my piece, and I'll show you a technique that we often use in a lot of our videos. It's called the reverse roll method. Okay, I got the piece right here. And what you want to do first is figure out what side it's actually starting out. So it actually starts right here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to grab your squeegee and just kind of dry this corner out. Okay? Just dry this out. And I'll show you why. All right, so once you dry it out, you're gonna go ahead and grab some of this slip, and you're just gonna destaticize that a little bit. And if you do have help, this is actually gonna be very helpful to have another person helping you here, but I'm also gonna show you how to do it by yourself. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start in this corner. Then we're just gonna go ahead and put it down. And because we have a dry spot right here, you'll notice that it'll stick a little bit better than normal. Okay, so once you're at that point, just go ahead and get this down as well. You know, getting started is a little challenging. Once you get it all down, it does get a little easier. Okay, once you get to this point, you can go ahead and just drag it all out. So the main thing, guys, is to make sure, I actually missed this one. You want to have a dry spot here and a dry spot right there. But once we get to this point, you want to just lift it back up and then just spray everywhere. Because we haven't actually sprayed anything here. So we just want to make sure that every area of this hood is nice and hydrated. And during this time, if you feel like your fingers are hurting from spraying, you're probably doing the right thing. And it's a lot of spraying. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lift this up a little bit more. Okay, and then kind of come back to the other side. Like I said, if you have help, this helps a lot having another hand, but I'm just going to assume that sometimes you don't have help. All right, I think that was it in terms of all the areas. Okay, and then we're going to loosely align everything in place how you kind of want it to be. And we're going to be using this side as the main area we're going to use to align. The other side, of course, is going to be the same. But I'm going to go ahead and now spray the top layer. If you don't spray the top layer, it's not going to be good. It's going to damage the film. Okay, so I'm getting close. But this part, you really want to take your time. Just make sure you're completely hydrated. But if you don't, you're going to pay for it later. All right, so now we're going to loosely align this and this right here. It should come up quite a bit. All right. What you're focusing on mostly is right up here. And you can see it's not fully, but it's close. It's close to kind of where it needs to be. Okay, that's all you want. We're going to go ahead and align this. Alignment is pretty self-explanatory. This goes a little bit below that, and then this goes right to that edge. Spray some tack. I'm going to use my palm technique right here. Get as close as you can without kind of going too much. There is a too much. It's a balance right here. Okay, so that is tacked. And do the same thing. And notice we're actually stretching a tiny bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab this. And when you do that, it should I think the bottom kind of popped up right here. You can see, you see all this stuff happening? Actually, I want to just make sure it's nice and loose. Okay. And what we're going to do is focus on this right here and then this down there as well. Okay. So since we got both corners done, let's go ahead and pull this down. Just to kind of get the tension. Okay. Okay. A lot of soap, so we do need to okay, pretty aggressive. Other side. And what I like to do, guys, is basically I pull this down, and then I kind of use my thumb to just push it, and that tends to kind of tack it in place as well, right here. Okay, so I got that down. We're gonna go here now. Okay, just focus right here first. That kind of popped up. Okay. Kind of get all this bubbles, gather it right here, and awesome. So all of that is tacked. Got that tacked. I got one area right here. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys see that corner right there. And then this kind of popped up earlier. I'm just going to pull this back down. Just a tiny bit. Okay, and it's been some time, so I'm actually going to redo this. I know it seems a little difficult, but I'm going to show you right after I get this tacked down. All right, so we got all corners down. I know that was tough, but all of it is now distributed the way I want it to be, okay? So next, we're gonna go ahead, honestly, we can start squeegeeing. And what we wanna do is this little area right here, we can rehydrate later. So we actually wanna focus on this body line first and go all the way down to this part right here. Okay, we're gonna kind of get it down the middle. Right, you can see dried out right there a little bit. Kind of what I was talking about. Make sure it's still moving. Yep, still good. Okay. And then go ahead and go up. Now really focusing on this body line right here. It's an aggressive line. And then just don't go back into this area because that's where we tacked it earlier, right? The reason why we do this is when we split it, we can actually hydrate that section, but it's hard to hydrate the middle, right? So we're gonna go ahead and start from the center. I'm gonna go ahead and just let this travel up, travel down. And this is where PPF is a little bit more different than vinyl. You kind of do this smaller sections like so, squeegee in this smaller increments, and I'm always watching with a 50% overlap. Okay, I'm gonna go away from this tack point. Okay, I know that's a tack point for me. And then we're gonna just keep going up. Okay, and then bring this down as well. Okay, and then go ahead. We'll just keep going. Okay, this part I'm probably gonna have to rehydrate. I'm gonna go side to side real quick. As long as you're going away, which is what I'm doing right now, that's what you want. With a good amount of overlap. And we're going close, but it's okay. I'm actually trying to put it into this area so I can hydrate it a little bit. And then I can use this channel right here. There's a natural channel. And then I'm going to start pushing everything towards here. Okay. A little bit of a dry spot. It's okay. There we go. The big bubbles right here. So sometimes, I don't know if you noticed that, there was a little dry spot. A real quick trick is to kind of move some of those bubbles right here, and then you hydrate that area, and that actually fixes some of those dry spots. Okay, so I got all this area. Then I just got right here. So I'm going to go ahead and focus on getting this out here. And I got all of that area pretty good. There's a small dry area that I missed right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. I really need more. I need a new bottle. This one does not sound good. You use a lot of slip for this hood. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of move it across. Now I've created some more dry points. And now I have no dry spots at all right here. Perfect. Again, I can get this later, even with this giant bubble right here. I can always get it a little bit later. Okay, I really want to focus on right here. Okay. Okay, great. So now, let it travel. So think about that. That's another tip that we've kind of learned over time. Just you're hydrating, especially black vehicles, you'll see a lot more dry spots and working lines and stuff like that. Not so much on like a white car maybe. You'll still see it, but black cars, I think you gotta be even more careful. At least 50% overlap. I'm going quite slow. I got a little bit of dry spot right here. I just move that hydration into this area and just kind of works itself out. Okay, and then this is another point right here. So we're gonna go ahead, kind of move inwards now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this channel right here. Just move all this water right here and this giant bubble that you see all up in here. There's a little dry spot. Here we go, got it. And then I could go out this way. All right, So we're gonna go ahead and lift this up, right? Because we got it all the way to the body line. And then you're gonna lift this up just a little bit. If you need to, you can go all the way up to this body line. And now we can just hydrate this really, really easily, just like that, okay? And you don't have to worry about the other side drying because you're gonna do the same thing. And because you've already stretched it the way you need to, it should line up pretty easily, like so. So we're gonna go ahead and grab right here, making sure this is still good. And go ahead. Just like that. And we got a couple fingers right here. All right, we're gonna do the other side. Okay, and just like the other side, I got some fingers right here. So now that we got everything down, we're gonna do one last step, which is gonna be a double take. You're just gonna do it one more time, exactly what you did. So kind of start with the body line right here, kind of going away. And then, oh, I gotta do the other body line as well. Really focusing on that. And then go ahead and do this. And this is the point that you can see what part you might have to check. But honestly, for this hood, because it's so big, just do more checks as you go, and that will be much more helpful than trying to do it too late later on, okay? And be careful. This hood is a little bit more fragile than some other hoods, so you don't want to dent it or anything like that. But once you're here, you're gonna go ahead and open up the front again. So here we go. I like putting a block like this, and then just getting underneath the latch, just putting it down. What that does, it allows me to get on the edges a little bit better. So let's talk about these fingers right here. Go and spray directly into it. And you can fold over some of those edges right here. Just like that. This is a little soapy, so we might have to kind of flush this out a little bit. You could also even use just water. Distilled water or just clean filtered water is going to be your best bet. Okay, sweet. All right, so now that we have all those basic fingers gone, what you can do is actually lift it all the way up. You don't have to worry about any of the edges. And what you're gonna do is you're just going to flush out all of this with alcohol. And then we're going to do this side as well. And you can see there's plenty of edge right here, and then the back side as well. You want to flush that out from all those bubbles. Okay. All right, so now that we're at this position, before we actually fold over, you're just going to go ahead and go over these edges one more time. You can see that a lot of the bubbles like to sit on these edges. Push this back down. Especially the back side as well. Don't forget the back side. All right, so the last step right here is basically folding over the edges, and I'll show you how to do it. You could actually wait and let this dry out, but if you don't want to wait, I'll show you how you can do this as well, because typically if you stretched it well, there's going to be actually pretty light tension all the way around. Okay, go ahead and make this a little bit more like a spray pattern. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to try my best to show you. You just kind of go over. Kind of hard to do sideways. And then under like that. Okay. Let me see if I can show you a different area, because that one's a really hard one to do it sideways. So you basically fold this over, and then kind of get underneath. Okay. Go ahead and spray a little bit more tack. When you do this, just make sure you're really looking at the top edge, because bubbles just kind of like to come back up. So basically, I'm kind of making sure, and then look at that bubble right here that just came back. Okay. Look at that, and you're just going to do that slowly, little by little. In certain areas might want to pop up. You're going to use a lot more tack. Use your finger. And then you could also do this technique. And this is alcohol, so if you need to wear gloves, it's actually a good time to wear gloves. Great. It's like a combination of the tack, but also the force is what actually brings it in place. But that is how you do the hood on a Model X. So we're gonna let this rest actually, but I've demonstrated on the other side exactly how to fold over edges. Just follow that whole pattern and you should be good to go.